Today, I'm joined by a good friend of mine, an incredible artist from North Carolina, dude.
Hey, you know what it is, y'all.
Moonlander, welcome to the podcast, dude.
Moonlander's into the building, y'all. Some backstory real quick before we start. I have to have this hood on my head because we were out in the city. It was windy. My hair looks atrocious right now. So, and I think once I put it up, I couldn't take it off. I looked at myself in the mirror. It wasn't good.
Well, you bring me to another point, too, where this is the first podcast I've shot outside of Connecticut. Most of the time, I make my guests come to Connecticut while they're on tour and they're routing and everything. But today, we were shooting content in the city because, I'm doing this 50 states project. You're the North Carolina artist for that project.
Shout out.
And, we were like, we're together. We might as well shoot a podcast. So now we locked in.
We're in New York, y'all. We're in New York City doing a pod.
So I want to ask you, what was it like growing up for you, dude?
Shoot, terrible.
Oh, no.
No, I'm just kidding. So I think growing up was just, you just figuring it out. But I always wanted to be something and by the way, I say way too much. My podcast, I noticed myself saying I'm going to try to fix that. But if you hear me say it, just know what it is. But growing up, I always wanted to be something. I used to be the class clown all the time. I would win class clown award. So my first ever goal in life was I want to be on SNL. So I would tell people that when I was a little kid. I'm gonna be I'm gonna be on SNL one day. I'm gonna be on SNL. So I wanted to be the funny guy in SNL. And then I also I don't know why, but I used to watch the Kids' Choice Awards, right? And you would see all these kids when I was a kid too, and I'd be God, I want to be on that carpet. You would see all your favorite little stars, Disney Channel stars. You'd be they just look so fun. So I don't know. I feel I was always born to be something in the spotlight. I've always wanted
something
to be
in entertainment.
Yeah.
Thank you for tuning in to the Mike Squires and Friends podcast. You can support by subscribing on YouTube or downloading on your preferred podcast platform. And definitely go do that because it helps us grow and I can have more incredible guests on the podcast. The Mike Squires and Friends podcast is proudly sponsored by DistroKid. Looking to broaden your musical horizons as an artist? Discover DistroKid. With its smooth and rewarding music distribution platform, DistroKid offers unlimited uploads while ensuring artists retain 100% of their royalties and earnings. Join the community of over 1 million artists who trust DistroKid to distribute their music across major platforms like Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, TikTok, Tidal, and so many others. Having personally used DistroKid since 2018, I can attest to their superiority amongst distribution services. Collaborating with fellow artists has become effortless, especially with the ability to easily send splits of songs, streamlining the creative process. With the DistroKid app, accessing these benefits is now more convenient than ever. Safely sign up or log in with 2-factor authentication, upload releases on the fly, monitor earnings, and withdraw funds from your DistroKid bank. Stay updated on royalties through push notifications, effortlessly share hyperfollow links, manage account details seamlessly, and track streaming stats from Spotify and Apple. Additionally, explore Mixia for professional-grade mastering, DistroVid for music video distribution, and Instant Share for secure file sharing with collaborators, producers, and more. The DistroKid app is available on both iOS and Android. Download it today from the App Store or Google Play Store to revolutionize your music career. Visit distrokid.com/VIP/Mike Squires to get 30% off your first year membership. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode of Mike Squires and Friends. So at what point do you get into music?
So I was 13, and looking back at it, I didn't really know that I loved music as much as I did, but I loved music. I always had a CD player with me. I would have my dad's old CDs, and I remember, and there's it's funny, I'm sure you have some stuff in your life. You just remember something you shouldn't remember. I remember one time I was in the shower singing, and my mom's "You're good." And I was "No, I'm not." And I was "What are you talking about? You're just my mom saying that." And so basically one day, my boy, I just had to move middle schools. My mom got remarried. I had to go live with my pops. My voice cracked. I had to go live with my pops. And I went to this school that was completely different than the school I went to. The other school was very preppy. Everyone was very I don't know, that's the best word. The other one was the opposite of that, old ass school, nasty, dirty, complete A to B. And so I made some new friends and shit, and they would always come over. And the one friend I had, we allowed to cuss on this?
Yeah, you can cuss. You can cuss. I swear all the motherfucking time.
All the fucking time. But he came over and he was already rapping at the time. So we were 13. He came over and he's like, he brought his mic. He's like, y'all want to make a song? And I feel like 9 out of 10 people like have just wanted to make a song for fun anyways. So I remember he put on Kanye West beat.
You remember which one?
Yeah, it was N-word in Paris or whatever.
Yeah, don't say that. We can cuss, but we can't cuss like that.
Trust, I ain't saying that.
That's not allowed.
I ain't saying that. That's why it's like hard to say that name. I hate that. That's the one we first made too. But anyways, we remixed it. We called it Kids in the Park. And my one friend was on it. I remember I was just rapping and I was rapping like the most cringe stuff. I was like, what's good? What's up? It's Lil Pickles. Like came in on the beat like that. And I just like fell in love with it. I was like, bruh. So I remember I asked my pops, I was like, can you get me a mic for Christmas? I think he got me like an $80 mic. I had to plug
like
in
a snowball or something like that?
I had to plug in the ice skull with the snowball. I think everyone had the snowball.
Everybody had the snowball one, but that's why I brought it up.
So I definitely had that.
And like a scarlet interface.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And when I started, like again, like I just like loved it. I started as Lil Pickles. That was my rap name, was Lil Pickles.
What inspired that name, dude?
My name's Dylan. So I also thought in order to be a rapper, you had to put like Lil in front of your name. You know, like Lil Wayne. Everyone had like, so I was like, I'm Lil Pickles. And like off jump, that just was like a joke. Like anyone I would say that to, I'm like, yeah, what's your rap name? I'm like, Lil Pickles. They're like, so instantly I was like, yeah, we need to change this. So my middle name's Houston, and all my boys like back in the day would be like, Houston, we have a problem. Like, you know what I'm saying? And in the 8th grade, we had to watch like, they would give you a Robot Baby to watch for like the weekend. So the whole weekend, you basically had to literally carry like a baby and it would cry at random times. You had to like, it would literally 5 a.m, it would start crying. You had to be like, you're just like an 8th grader, like hitting this Robot Baby. And I wanted my baby to have like a funny ass name. So I looked up worst baby names and Moonlander was on the list. So I was like, just like something, you know, I just saw it on the screen. I was like, that's my rap name.
So what's the first song that you released under Moonlander?
I think I did a remix to J. Cole's song. Boom, 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 boom.
Oh,
what song is that?
Workout for me.
It was Workout. I did a remix of Workout. And literally, I remember, I think I have it somewhere, but it was like, I rapped a bar. I was like, Picklezo8. That is no longer me. And then I was like, my new name is Moonlander. And then I was like, my first, and it was like, boom, boom, boom. Like I added like some stupid drops in there. And I was like, yeah.
So, you know, we were just sitting in Chick-fil-A right before this too. And, you know, this podcast was kind of on the fly. And I do like to do some research so I like know my guests more because we're really just meeting for the first time today in person. But, you know, I'm going down my feed. I'm learning. You've been on so many festivals, dude. Yeah. Like, how did that come to be?
Bro, I feel like I've been in the game, y'all. I've been in the game. Man, I just noticed in life, really, like anything you want, you can just have, and you just have to ask for it. And I've noticed, like, I don't know why people are afraid to ask for things, but I also think it's smart to know how to ask for it and not just look like you're like trying to sponge. But there is this festival, it's called Breakaway Music, right? It was like 2019 maybe, and they would have like huge people on it. They had like, so I had like a goal of the year when I was like, I maybe had like 200 monthly listeners. And I was like, I want to be on Breakaway. Like I'm going to be on Breakaway. It was like, I opened up for Juice WRLD, like Machine Gun Kelly, like Wiz Khalifa. And I remember I was on the stage, terrible. If you saw the performance, I'm sure you'd be like, I mean, I was cringing, but I didn't know how to perform yet. But I still, like, when I went up there, like, obviously, when I did it, I was like, bro, I killed it. Like, I was like, I mean, I don't think anyone didn't think I killed it, but obviously, like, looking back, I'm like,
you're always your worst critic.
Yeah. But when I got off the stage, like, there was a guy who was like, bro, like, you actually, like, killed it. He was like, I've never seen, like, an opener bring the crowd like that, because obviously, as an opener, no one is really there for you. So I still got the crowd hype, and he was like, bro, I never seen something like that. And he was like, let's talk some more. I was like, bet. So I ended up like getting with the CEO of the festival company. And I remember he was like, meet me in Ohio. That's where they're based out of. I went and had a dinner with him. Again, I had like 200 monthlies. And I'm sitting there and he's like, Moon, you're good, but like, you don't got enough hits. And like me, I'm like a kid. I'm like, yes, I do, bro. Like, you're like, ooh. I got hits. Like looking back, like I wouldn't play one of those songs, but it's like funny to like be in that moment. Like I was like, he don't get it. I'm like, he don't get it. But he was like, we could definitely like work. And I was like, okay. He's like, you just need to focus on making songs. And I was like, he obviously don't know I got a million songs. Like, come on. And anyways, I just built a relationship. The festival ended up like becoming my management. They're like, we want to sign you. So like during COVID, there was no festivals going on. So I think they were like,
need to pivot or something.
Yeah, they're like, what can we do? Like, we don't know if shows are ever going to come back. So I think they're like, well, let's do artist management. So it was like me, this dude named Kid Quill.
Oh, I know Kid Quill.
Yeah.
He's from Swaggy Tracks days. He was another artist that was posted up there a lot.
Oh, sick. Yeah. So we were the first 2 artists that they managed, me and him. And I basically just got blessed. Like they would just, obviously I was their artist, so they would put me on like all the festivals. So it was like sick. I feel like everyone would be like, how is he doing this? Like,
because there's some big names. There's like, the Chainsmokers. I've seen plenty of people. Do you have like, another festival I saw you did was like Blended Fest. Yeah. Is that the same people?
No, different. And again, bruh, so crazy. I literally just DM'd Blended Fest and I was like,
put me on.
And they're like, okay. And they ended up, and they're like, what's your price? And I remember being like, I was like, 300. Again, this is before I like knew anything. I was like, I'll do it for $300.
And where were you living at the time?
I was just living me and my friends, we had a crib that we rented. So we all had like a room.
It was Blended Fest in the same area though? Or
no,
you had to travel?
Travel.
I mean, your travel expenses are going to be more than 300 probably.
But I didn't know. I was like 300 and they didn't hit me back. And I was like, fuck, I should have said I'll do it for free. Like I was like so mad. And then like, I think she didn't even see that I said 300. And then she was like, she like called me one day. She's like, hey, like we only have a budget of 2K. Is that fine? I was like, what? I was like, yeah, that's cool. Like,
dude, you have the illest negotiating skills I've ever heard, dude. Like, I'll do it for 300. They're like, the best we can do is 2,000.
I'm like, oh, all right, I can make that slide. So I remember being like, holy fuck, like I'm gonna get 2,000. Like that is crazy. And I did that, and then I just kept doing. Like they had more and more festivals, and I did it. I just kept doing them.
Yeah. Do you have a story from one of these festivals that's very memorable to you, of like maybe even meeting somebody, or just like a moment where you're like, wow? Well, before one of the Blendeds, I don't know if I have like a good meeting moment, but I was dating this shawty who ended up breaking my heart. I'm sorry.
That's all right. Really put me down a loophole. But no, I don't want to cry on the pod. But I don't know if I was like, I think my body was like rejecting being with her, right? So I went to this festival, and like before my performance, like I just got like super anxious. And I was like, which I don't ever get anxious. And I like had a panic attack with her, and I was like, yo, I gotta go to the hospital, bro. I gotta go to the hospital. Cause also like when you have a panic attack, and especially like you don't have it often, like it felt like I was dying. I was like, oh God. I remember going to the hospital, and I'm supposed to like, I missed my sound check for this festival. My boys did my sound check for me, and I literally saw someone die. Like we're all in the waiting room. This old lady was just like she could see the light, and I was like, I gotta get the fuck out of here. And so I literally like left from the hospital and went and performed like 20 minutes. And I was like, yeah, I was just in the hospital.
I feel like that's got to be a perspective changing day, dude. You know what I mean?
It was crazy.
Because, I mean, what do you think? Like, you were just nervous for the show? Like, what do you think was happening?
No, not at all. I don't know. I still don't know to this day. I think it was just being with her. Like, I just knew like something was wrong.
Well, yeah. And, like if the vibe, like if you guys weren't working out together and like the vibe was just not there, you probably were like, you probably knew that you had to make a play to like end it. But sometimes it's easier to like think about the play than actually just like doing it, because I'm sure a lot of people end up in relationships, not just like, a relationship that you like live with somebody, but I'm sure like work relationships and things just that they don't like because they're afraid to talk up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But I don't know. I mean, I met a bunch of cool peeps. It's fun, man. The festival life is the best. I mean, this is actually a funny story. Like, obviously, I do my music like with my friends when we go on tour. Like my whole gang is my friends, right? So it's like we're getting to like go somewhere new. We're just like a long vacation. Every day you're with someone, a new place with all your boys. And these festivals, bro, which is sick, is like when you get to start doing like top tier stuff with like big artists, like you're treated like royalty. Like they picked us up in a party bus. We were like, so we're like little stuff like that. They're like, give us the address, someone will pick you up. We're like, oh, okay. Like they're going to send an Uber. Huge ass party bus rolls up. We're like, oh, we get in there. There's like bottles, like they're like, what kind of alcohol do y'all like? Before we're like, oh, they had the bottles in there. We were just like on the way to the festival. We're like bumping the shit. We're going crazy, bro. And then you get to like your green room and it's like, everyone's treating you like a king. And they're like, what can I do for you? You're like, okay.
I had a moment at a festival. The first moment I had a moment like that at a festival. There's this festival called Moonrise in Maryland. And, you know, I went with this artist and the artist was like, he was like this older dude. He was a very nice dude, but he was an older dude. And like, you know, there was all these golf carts of people taking people around. There's all these buffets. There was like in the back, there was like people giving like massages.
Yes.
And he was like, yeah, like, you know, we're not cool enough to do this. Like, we don't do this. Like, we walk. And I was like, no, we don't.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? So I made friends with everybody, but it's funny, like the artist who I went to go film for that day ended up walking around and not doing this. I made it to the set on time and filmed it because it was like a DJ, like an EDM DJ. And, but I'm just like riding around on golf carts. There's like a pig roast.
So
I'm getting
fun.
like a massage. I'm like, but that's the thing. Like, you know, life is already hard enough. So it's like, you can't be afraid to take advantage of the things that, like, I'm not saying don't overdo it and don't overstep. You gotta know your place and you gotta do it. But it's like, yo, if there's a pig roast and they're cool with you being a part of the pig roast, you know, just
then roast that pig.
Roast that pig, dude. I was looking, so I was, as I said, I was looking through your Instagram, dude, and you know, there was a moment in Chick-fil-A. You said, "What are you laughing at?" And I looked at you and I said, "You know what I'm laughing at, dude?
My booty."
Yeah, what's good? Tell me the Young Gravy story. What's going on there, dude? You got to tell me start to finish how this happened.
So 2022, I did 4 shows with Gravy, right? And so one thing about Gravy's fans, like they just go crazy. Like it's a different type of show, right? So I'm opening up for them. Again, like I've been on tours with so many big artists. Like a lot of them are like dickheads, right? And they just act like they're so cool because they're in their world, right? And Gravy was just like so refreshing of a person. Like he came into our green room, like he had my merch on. He like went and bought it like out there. Like he was just kicking it with us. We were like having a good ass time. We were like, and I remember he was like, "Moon, let me get your number." And I was like, okay. So I was like, I wasn't gonna ask him, but shit, now I got his number. So all the time he would come like back on other tours. Like if he's in my city, like I'd go, we'd party on the bus, like with him, just kind of built like a relationship. And all the time, me and my boys would be like, the Gravy shows were different, bro. Like, we got to do a whole tour with him. And I was like, bro, I'd love to do that. So I wanted to ask him. I obviously had his number and stuff. I was like, I want to ask to be on his tour, but also I don't want to just ask for a favor because I want to bring something to the table.
It's so important to do that.
Because he doesn't need me. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, how can I like benefit him at all? So I thought of this idea where I buy a billboard and then I stand on top of the billboard. And the billboard says, like, will you let me go on tour with you? Love, Moonlander. And it's a picture of, like, me and him, like, hugging. Like, I'm, like, behind him, like, hugging him. And so that's what I did. I bought the billboard, and I was like, let me go on tour. And basically, I was like, if Young Gravy responds, like, I'm going to get his name tattooed on my ass, right? And being a Young Gravy man that he is, when he responded, he was like, you need more than just my name. Like, and he started showing like other fans that have like his face, like his big ass face on his arm and shit. And he's like, you need my face. Like, it's got to be juicier than just my name. And I'm like, fucker. Like, damn. So basically, I asked TikTok again. I made 3 different designs of like what tattoo I should get. And the world decided on a drawing basically of me with my pants, like pulling my pants off. And then he's on his knees tattooing my ass. So on my ass, there's a picture of my ass and he's tattooing my ass.
So just to clarify, it's a photo of him like
on his knees,
like drawing on your butt or like signing.
He's signing on my butt.
He's signing on your butt, but that's also what the tattoo is of.
It is that. So it's a tattoo of the tattoo, you know?
It's really kind of endless kind of thing. Now, question. Now, in the tattoo, is there like on your butt in the tattoo, is there another of the...
It just never stops, bro. Yeah, it's like a picture of the mirror.
That's insane, dude.
But we did that, bro. The shows were amazing.
I'm glad you got the shows. Yeah, that's where I wanted to hear, too.
The one in my hometown was like such a life-changing, just like moment to be on a stage I dreamed of being on in front of like 5,000 people. And I was just like, fuck. Like, you know what I'm saying? That was just like a moment I never we'll forget. And I think it just made me, like, after the shows were over, I went home. It's so weird being an artist sometimes because, like, where I live, like, I live in the woods, right? I have a sick ass crib, but it's in the woods. So, like, it's very easy to, like, forget that there's a world outside of my woods, right? And you see 300,000 people, like, watch your video. You don't see 300,000 people, you know what I'm saying? So sometimes it's easy to be like, oh, like, no one really saw it, you know what I'm saying? And then when you leave, it's like, oh shit, people actually like saw the shit when people are like coming up to me and stuff. But it's so crazy to be on stage and then just like, you just go home and you're like back to being like a nobody again. You're like, oh, like,
it's kind of nice though too to have that balance too, because I think if it was one way all the time, if it was like boring all the time, it'd just be boring. But if it's exciting all the time, then it'd become so normal that like you wouldn't have those moments where you really appreciate it.
Yeah.
But what's something you learned from Young Gravy just like throughout that whole experience? Do you guys like talk about anything?
I mean, we boys, like, he would come back my green room. We text still all the time. Like, he'd be texting me some funny shit. But I just learned, like, I love a lot of artists that are on the come up. I think y'all try to overcompensate because no one taught anyone how to be an artist, right? So I think we're all like trying to be cool because like being an artist is like, oh, we got to be cool. And a lot of times like these artists that are like still on the come up, like y'all are just mean. Like it's like you're almost acting like you're too good for someone and you're too cool. And I think when you become the person you want to be, like you don't have to pretend to be cool because you're already cool.
No, that makes a lot of sense to me, dude.
Like when Post Malone walks in a room, like he doesn't have to act a certain way. He's already Post Malone, you know, like he doesn't need to act cool because he's Post Malone.
Yeah. And you know, to talk about that, dude, I feel like a lot of artists do put up a front too, because they don't know how they're supposed to act. And maybe it's like, it's a tricky industry too, because I mean, when you talk about music industry and stuff, like the typical is like, you know, you think about like sometimes the shady business guy, or like people are always trying to like fuck you over. You know what I mean? So it's like, I can see why an artist that's new to the game would always have their guard up. But the truth is, you know, sometimes you just got to roll with the punches, be yourself, and just know that, you know, things are going to go wrong. Like it's just part of the game, but things are also going to go right and fantastic. And those moments are going to make the other moments that went wrong not even matter.
Oh my God. Yeah, it's just cool to be in rooms with people that are like have made it and stuff, and know like obviously if I'm in the room, like we all good. You know what I'm saying?
Another moment that I know that went right for you, this is such and I want to hear the story about it, is that not only did you remix Ayaz's song Replay, you got Ayaz on the remix of the song, dude. How did that come to be?
Bruh, so this producer sent me a beat, he called it Replay, right? And I was like, obviously I thought about that song. I was like, shoddy, like a melody. And then I sang it. And this is the first time I think I've ever like covered another song type, like sang someone else's song. And I was like, I think I was against it at one point, like remixing songs. I was like, I would see people on tour and stuff and they would just be doing other people's songs. I'm like, y'all don't got anything good? Like you got to do someone else's song. But I made the song and I was like, bruh, I'm only putting this out if he gets on it with me. So I DM'd him. I'm like, bro, like I remade the song, like would love if you got on it. He's like, bro, I'm not gonna lie to you, like you're one of 100 people to have said that. Like, to be honest, like I probably won't get on it. And I was like, oh, okay.
It's good that you even respond.
Yeah,
you know, that's a good first step in my eyes.
It was respect. I mean, I still respect it. I was like, that is true. I'm sure I'm not the only one that tried to do it. But I sent him the song. He's like, I'm gonna check it. I was waiting like 2 weeks. Didn't hear anything from him. Then one day I had to see my Instagram, like ding, 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 ding. Like he just kept sending message. He's like, bro, holy fuck. This is so hard. Bro, I'm actually like, this is so good.
What's
like,
that moment feel like when you're seeing these messages come in?
I'm like, shit, that's sick as fuck, bro. Like I have a distinctive memory of having my iPod Nano, a yellow iPod Nano, and I would have his cover art because it was yellow. Like the cover art of the song had like yellow in it. And it just looked so clean to me, and I would listen to Replay on the school bus.
Bro, you just like brought me back a little bit too, because, you know, so I'm a music video director, but before I was doing it for artists, like I would shoot videos of like myself and stuff like that. Not to hijack the story, but
hijack
it. One of the first videos I shot was to Replay by Ayaz. Like I feel like that was a song of like our generation.
Yeah, it is.
But let me throw the ball back to you, dude.
No, that's sick, but it's just such an iconic song. And when he was like, I'm getting on it, I was like, I actually felt like super grateful and like blessed because I'm like, bro, I know that people have tried to remake this, like, and he's clearly said no. Like the fact that he almost like gave me like, he's like, you can have the song, almost like he gave me the song. So it's like Replay almost became like mine now.
Yeah, but it's funny. It's like, yo, it's your song, dog. He's like, no, it's your song, dude.
I know. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, that's an insane cosign, dude.
So sick. So it's a song, obviously it's my number one most viewed song, but something I play every night. People love to hear the story because it's like, it's just sick. Like if I would have made the song and he wasn't on it, I don't think it would have been cool.
Yeah, and I feel like this is a good segue to talk about the record that technically is not out yet, but by the time this podcast
it will
be out because we did a remix to Mike Posner's Cooler Than Me.
Shout out to you, Mike.
Yeah, shout out. I have an incredible story with Mike. I could actually tell it real quick. I've never actually told this story because there's never been a time to tell this story.
Okay.
So when I was like 15 years old, Mike Posner used to Skype with fans. You know what I mean? And he like Skyped with one of my good friends. And I was there with my friend, and my friend Trish, she was like, oh, this is my friend Mike Squires. Like, he's trying to do video. He's trying to make music. And he basically, like, it's a quick cliche thing, but he was just like, yo, no matter what, do not give up on your dreams. Like, you can do it.
That's sick.
And you know what? That, like, held with me for so many years. I didn't talk to him or anything. I haven't seen him
I would love to see the little 15-year-old you like, you mean that?
Yeah, that's pretty. Like, yeah, dude. I was definitely like shaking, but it like definitely set a fire under me to like, know that I could do it. So, I originally cooked up that beat because I've always had like this love for Mike Posner, even though he doesn't know me. Because in some ways,
Mike, I love you.
But he just like. It's cool when people are like that and they're willing to like motivate like the next generation too, but now we're doing this remix, right? And it's just kind of like a full circle thing for me. Yeah. You know what I mean? Where it's like,
I hope he hears it.
I hope he hears it too. I hope he hears it and I hope he likes it. You know what I mean?
He's going to love it.
I think he's going to love it too. And I feel like there's a cool story behind it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, even like, the Mike Posner angle I have from just my childhood, but like even how we connected too, just like, I feel like everything came together, dude.
It's sick how things work. It's sick how like the world's so small, but so big.
Yeah. And that's like the beautiful thing. And something I'm kind of taking away from this podcast too, with like the Young Gravy and everything, like, and like me reaching out to you, like sometimes it's just like, you just gotta shoot your shot because, a couple of weeks ago we never spoke. Now, a couple weeks later, we have a song together.
We're speaking.
A really dope song, and we're, doing a podcast. So it's like, you just got to get out there and just make things happen because no one else is going to do it for you.
Bro, you got to shoot your shots. And I've noticed in my life, I don't know if like just the way we're accustomed to like believing things, but like things used to always seem so impossible, right? It's like, oh, I can't get that yet, or I can't do that yet. But it's like, you can really have whatever you want. Seriously. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, again, it's all about like, the proper way of asking for something and then just going after it. Like so many things, everything I've gotten in my career is like, I've asked for it. Like no one's come to me like, you want to perform with the Chainsmokers? Like no one ever asked me that. It's like, I'm like, let me get on that bitch.
But you said something crucial earlier, and I need people to take this away from you, dude, is that you wanted to figure out how you could provide value.
Yeah.
And I think that's so important because the way I live is like, it's not what you can do for me. It's what can I do for you?
Yeah.
Because you could have just shot Gravy the text and you could have been like, yo, can I get on tour? You might not have got a text. Like, who knows what happened? But, it's like you brought this avenue that, builds this story. And, if he does pick you after doing the Billboard and everything, it like also helps promote the tour and things like that. Yeah. It's like a cool moment. So it's like, you also like make it, and it doesn't even have to be something like that. You could also just make it fun for somebody, I
actually am it's dropping this week. I bought another billboard and it's to try to get Post Malone on my song. So it's a picture of me and Post on the billboard. We're kind of like, just being buddies. And then it says like, I spent all my money on this to try to get Post on my song. Then I'm gonna hop up there and I'm just gonna sing that shit for 30 days. See if it goes viral.
Bro, it's such a smart idea. And it's like, you'll definitely, because it's, to me, they're always worst, best case scenarios, right? So the worst case scenario is you got a Billboard, Post Malone does a song and you just got sick promo for a month.
Yeah, for sure.
Best case scenario is
it gets on the song.
It gets on the song, dude. And like, it's like there's also, you never know who else is watching, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, you could do this thing and like Post Malone, like maybe he doesn't do anything, maybe he does. I'm hoping he doesn't. But let's just put it out there that he's gonna do it.
He's
right?
doing it, bro.
He's doing it, dude. But you know, like sometimes
There
when
it
you
is.
do, oh, that is sick, dude. You really have like a format too,
Bro.
where it's like,
It's like we're just looking like buddies.
bro, that's amazing, dude. You gotta send me the graphic. I'll put it up on the
I will.
screen, dude.
It'll be out then, but bro, you just gotta shoot your shot, man. I think sometimes I feel like I'm very like spiritual. I'm not very religious, but I'm very spiritual. Like pray all the time. I believe in God. Like God's got me where I'm going. But sometimes I feel like I get like feelings and like pushes, and like I made this song about my brother that passed, and it's like super like it's a good song, but. And I was making it, and I was like, I just hear Post on this. Like I hear it, and also like I think anything can happen. Like if that shit goes dummy viral, like it's almost now not that he needs me. You don't need me, Post. I need you. But like it's almost like he would be missing out by not doing it, because if it becomes such a moment, it's like now like, oh, it's a moment for him too. You know?
Yeah, I
So-
didn't know your brother passed away,
Yeah.
dude.
2018, and I just wrote the song. It's called "We Gonna Be All Right," and it's just kind of like a message to him. I wish I could give him a message now. It's like, we gonna be all right. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to do what you got to do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, what's something that you learned from your brother?
He always like played guitar, so it's funny. Like in the song, I have a lyric. He had like the nicest guitars. Like he was like a beast on guitar, and it like sucks that he never like saw me perform like in front of anyone really, because I wasn't like there yet. I was obviously making music, but like I made shitty ass music. You know what I'm saying? I don't think he really would be like, oh, my brother's gonna do it. But he always had these guitars, bro, and he would be like, don't you touch them. Like he would have them bitches locked up, bro.
It's like you're literally the Step Brothers thing with the drum set,
Yeah,
dude.
no, exactly, the drum set. And he'd be like, So like when he died, like I got all his guitars, and I was like, fuck you, I'm touching your guitars, boy. But I don't know. I think he just, like, I think I never had like a death before in my life. Have you?
I've had deaths, but to me, like none that close to
Yeah.
home. You know, I know of my sister. Like,
Yeah.
you know.
And it's weird because obviously in life, we don't think about dying that much, you know? And like, obviously we don't think about our loved ones dying, but like when you get that call that like someone's dead and it's like close to you, you're like, what? Like, and it's something you don't even know that feeling until it happens. You know what I'm saying? You're like, fuck, like they're actually like, you can actually die. Like you forget you can die.
Yeah.
So it's definitely just like, I don't want to say it was cool, but like I experienced like different emotions that I never felt before, which I think is special. But
Yeah, I know that when I've lost people, like my grief has come in waves. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I lost both my grandparents this year, and one of them was really strange because I didn't really talk to like there was a falling out in my family, so that like one of my grandparents I didn't really like talk to that
Yeah.
much, and it was weird when he passed too, because I mean in that particular instance it was like this will never be a thing, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? So it sucks that it kind of ended on that note. Wasn't necessarily my choice, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? But it's weird. And then like you go through moments, at least for me, I like went through moments of like, you know, happy remembering the good times. You know, there's like little, like for my grandmother who passed, she was like a crazy sweet tooth, right? And so like when I see like little sweets, like
Little
strawberry
Debbie's.
shortcake,
Yeah.
well, she like would make strawberry shortcake and stuff like that. Like it's nice. Like to me, like I like seeing it because it reminds me of her. But then there's like, you know, those moments where you're like, dang, you know,
Sad.
you're gone
Yeah.
too. So it's like a mixed bag of emotions.
it is. And it's some people I haven't had to deal with. And like, I would just say, tell everyone you love them. I also feel like, again, you never know what can happen to me, to you. And I think one thing I learned from that is just like, if I feel something, I'm just going to say it. Cause like, I don't ever want to like have held something back that I wanted to say to someone.
No, that's real. That's real too. And I think it's important too, because then you want to get that closure in your
Yeah.
life too. You know, recently, I haven't talked about this either, but when I just moved, a couple days after I moved, my sister got into a crazy car accident. She flipped her car and
Whoa.
everything. And it was in my hometown of Stanford. So, I mean, I'm lucky that one of my friends was actually one of the people that helped her out of the car
Wow.
and gave me the call immediately. but it's like, it wasn't a death. Well, I didn't know what the situation was 100% until I knew. Thankfully, one of my friends called me and kind of reassured me pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But you just never, it just kind of goes back to like, you never know. So I think the point that I want to bring this to, dude, is that you just got to live this life to the fullest. And like, there's no time to do anything that you don't love or have passionate for. It's like, you're going to work this whack job. You're going to and granted, sometimes you got to do what you need to do to get to where you want.
Right.
But it's like, you got one of these things guaranteed.
Yeah.
And to waste it on something that you don't want to do, something that you hate, something that you're not passionate about, it's such a waste. So whatever you're doing, if you're doing something that you hate and you're listening right now,
don't do it.
I advise you, make sure you're in a smart, don't ruin your life. Don't quit and then don't have some sort of a plan. But just figure out something that puts you in a path where you'll be happier and live a life that you're going to be very proud of.
I couldn't have said it better myself. That's what I'm talking about. But follow your dreams, man. Yeah. It's too short. Life's too short. And also, when you dead, you dead. You know what I'm saying? Might as well live it up.
Yeah. I'm gonna pivot the topic, dude. I'm gonna ask you what's your biggest moment of success you've had so far in your career. Or moment of success, because success is very different to everybody.
I think there's two, I wouldn't even say success, just moments that were defining in my life. Because one was, I again probably had 100 monthly listeners at the time. Mike Stud, I opened for him, right? I bought on.
I did see that, yeah.
Yeah, I bought on for 3 shows. And at the time, in my town, obviously when I started music, I was 13. It was really bad. So my whole high school, I just got shitted on all the time. Everyone made fun of me and everything. And I remember I bought onto these shows. I was performing at the House of Blues and went out there and I just had it was sold out. It was 2,000 people maybe. Again, I have 200 listeners. There's 2,000 people in front of me. I've never even performed before. And I'm there and I have the whole place just jumping, going crazy. And it was that moment in time where I was like, bro, fuck where I live. Fuck the people back home. You know what I'm saying? Everyone always made me feel like I was stupid. And it's I came somewhere and not one person knew me and I saw them all of it. And I was an eye-opening thing where it's I actually am good. They're just motherfuckers that are around me telling me I'm not, Dude,
and the thing too is what I've learned is that, people that you grew up with really won't support you until other people do. Yeah. And a lot of time it's because you grew up the same way. You know what I mean? So it's whatever they expect from themselves is kind of what they expect from you. They don't expect the kid that they went to school with to be the one that's on tour, And it's recent. It's funny because I recently moved back to my hometown of Stanford, and not to say I'm the man there now, but when I moved away, I definitely was not the man there. But now that I came back, it's so much love, and it feels good, and I'm really happy to reconnect with people. But it's there are people that have been supporting me since day one there, for sure. I've gotten a lot of support. But there are definitely people that were a little bit of naysayers that I'm seeing them change their colors. I'm I see you, dude. Yeah. But it's okay. It's hard though too. You know what I mean? To have a friend, it's a weird concept to have a friend that he's just traveling the world doing shows now. It's a weird concept. I have a lot of weird relationships because of it, It
is weird because I think for the longest, I wanted so bad. I was I'm going to prove everyone wrong. I'm going to prove everyone in my high school wrong. And I've already done that. You know what I'm saying? There's no one in my high school anymore that doesn't 1,000,000% respect me now. And it is cool to see people change up. But I would say another moment was I got to do the festival literally 2 minutes away from my house, 2 minutes away from my high school, in front of 20,000 people. Got to perform. I used to ride the school bus past where we performed every single day. And it was just so cool to be on that stage. I blacked out because I was it was this. I was on stage and it was off. And I was that energy of I was this whole town used to fucking shit on me. And now I'm in front of 20,000 people performing.
It's a crazy feeling too, when you have moments like that too. But it's it's all little by little too. And a lot of those people will I'm sure there are people too that understands the amount of work that you've also put in to get to that point, Shit. That's one thing that listen, you cannot like my music. You can hate my 50 stage part. You could hate my podcast, but you can't say I'm not a hard worker, dude. That's where I draw the line. Cause like, I'm up till midnight last night shooting a music video. I'm getting straight on the train this morning to come here to shoot content, to do a podcast.
He's working.
To go edit everything later, to go shoot another podcast tomorrow morning. Like, you can't say I'm not a hard worker. You know what I mean?
My man put in the work.
You got to put in the work. But what's some advice that you'd have for an artist on the come up now, or something that you've learned on your journey?
To all my artist friends out there, what up? Y'all need to work. That's really it, man. There's so many artists that y'all don't understand. Like, you got to put in that time. Like, you can't just expect that you're so good that your song is just going to blow up. And also, I think a lot of people that I see are putting themselves in boxes because obviously you're an artist. You love the song you make, right? I love every song I make. Every song I make, I'm like, when I'm making it, I'm like, this is a hit, right? When I'm making it. But the thing is like, you don't, as an artist, get to decide what your hit is. The people decide. And I see a lot of, like, there's this one artist I know. She goes crazy, like, for one song, right? She'll make a song. She goes crazy on it. But she goes so crazy on it. But also, it's like, again, it's her deciding what's a great song. So, like, she puts it out, and I'm like, and again, I ain't hating. But I'm like, bro, this is ass. Like, I've heard your, I ain't hating, but this is ass. I've heard.
Sounds like you're hating.
Yeah, I'm hating.
Okay.
But I'm like, I've heard you're good. Like, I've heard you have good songs, you have a good voice. But like, I think you're hurting yourself because you are deciding like what's good.
It's always the one you never expect, dude. Like, anybody who has had that moment, you're just like, oh,
yeah,
that one. You know what I mean? Like, I've had it happen a couple times, but that's why you just gotta throw those darts out there and eventually hit that bullseye, dude.
Stop caring about the 100 people that follow you. Even myself, I have like over 100,000 listeners now, 100,000 listeners. Like, that's a grain of salt of people, right? 100,000 people is a fuck ton of people, but like, those 100,000 people aren't gonna change my life, right? Like, I have to go for the millions and the other millions of people that aren't listening to me. I think a lot of people too, they kind of create a small fan base and then they think like they have to only work for their small fan base.
You gotta think big, dude. Like, I don't know what I was thinking the other night, like, but I had a moment where it's like, I just felt like people don't think big enough. Yeah. You know what I mean? Where it's like, you're focused on like this small, like little thing right here, but like the world is huge. You know what I mean? When my first song was moving, it wasn't because of Connecticut. Now I love Connecticut. I love and will rep Stamford, Connecticut for the rest of my life. But when my song went viral, it was because of Germany. You know what I mean? It's like, dude, I didn't even, at the time, I was like, what do you mean? Like, we speak English, they speak German. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't think there was going to be a crossover, but once I've been on tour over there and like learned, Germany goes hard for hip hop. They go harder than anybody else I've ever seen, dude.
That's
you know
sick.
what I mean? So it's like, sometimes you just like, you don't even know what your base is until sometimes it just connects.
Yeah. And also, I think people need to stop caring as much.
That's the truth, dude. You know what I mean? Like, don't let perfection get in the way of good enough, because sometimes perfection will keep you static. It'll keep you still. You won't make the play when good enough would have got you very far.
Yeah. Stop caring. Stop worrying about stuff that doesn't matter. Stop putting your money into stupid things, because no one cares about your music video right now. I love making music videos, but I don't do them because they're not going to change my life.
Bro, I literally came in the game as a music video director, and I will tell you, it's not the best bang for your buck.
No.
But, I still get hit up for music videos and do them, but I won't do them unless, so the basically how I do music videos, and I think this is a great advice for any artist, is that I'll shoot the music video, but keep all the shots in mind for short form content. So it's like, basically the video is a culmination of all these shots that would also work for short form. So it's like, you basically have a reel all the way through of the verse, and then, you know what I mean? But then you just chop them all together, make the music video, and that's that. So, and then this way, when people find the clip or see the one clip that goes viral, they'll recognize the music video too and know it's the same song. You know what I mean? So I just think that's if you're going to do a music video, you got to do it like that. Otherwise, just putting on YouTube and calling it a day won't do it.
I agree. But artists, y'all got to work, man. Get to work.
Yeah. What's something, I'm going to start bringing this to the end zone, but what's something interesting that someone might not know about you?
Well, I can blow the world's biggest bubble with bubble gum.
That's crazy, dude.
It's like that.
Bobby, we got bubble gum on set.
Like, for real.
He's shaking his head.
No,
No,
I need that double bubble. I need that double
the
bubble.
bazooka bubble gum?
No, it's got to be just the double bubble. When
You
I was
have a picture?
Bro, I do have a humongous video. Bro, when I was a kid, I was in Target or something, and it was weird. They had like someone from Double Bubble was there, and they had like a bubble like ruler, like it like opens like this, so you can measure like how big it is. And they're like, y'all want to try to win? And I remember I just blew one. I like left the store, and then I got like a huge like I think they like called me or something. Look at this.
Oh, that is a giant bubble, dude.
Hey, it goes bigger.
He didn't lie. Can you say? Wait, no, dude.
Wait, I go bigger too.
Bro, what? That's not even possible.
Look at that.
Dude, put it to the camera, dude. Yeah.
Y'all see that?
Oh, we got to throw up the video on screen, dude.
That's humongous. But
Bro.
anyways, yeah, I can do that. But I remember they were like, you won. And I was like, I won? And they sent me literally like 20,000 pieces of gum. Like my doorstep had like humongous bags. My mom was like, you're not eating all that. I'm like, Mom. She's like, you're sharing that with the neighborhood. I'm like, seriously, this is mine. But I honestly wanted to break the world record, Guinness World Record.
What is the world record? Look, I'm sure you know, because
know.
when you're that
Bro,
qualified,
that's bigger than the world record, I'm telling you.
bro.
That one is. But I think there's
we had to get Guinness out there.
Yeah, like that shit is big, bro.
Bro, that is ridiculous, dude. It's funny though. Is this something you figured out when you were younger? You could
Bro,
do this?
I don't know why I can blow, but I can blow. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, yo, dude.
What?
It's funny though, because like as a kid, like you figured that out when you were younger, like that you could do this, or like how old were you?
Yeah, when I was younger, I just started blowing that shit.
That's the thing. When you're younger, I feel like you could figure out some of the talents that you had. Like I can do the worm.
Okay,
you know what I mean?
I can do that.
But there's no way at almost 30 years old that I would have been like, yo, you think I could do the worm? But like as a kid, you're like, yo, let me
You can still worm?
I haven't. I've been out the game for a hot second, but you know what? I think I still have it in me, dude. Like I think if I got down there and fucking, the
other day, I think I tried to
do.
do the worm and I like crushed my like sack. Like I was like, oh, and it
was
wasn't a good time.
I love the idea. I love the idea of, how we just were in Times Square and like they had like the dance circle.
Yeah.
God, it brings me like, I fantasize about things all the time.
He wanted to worm so bad.
Yeah, like I was just like, yo,
I'm itching.
I'm the dude in the corner. I'm like, yo, if only they knew I could fucking do the worm, dude. But
that's his party trick.
Okay, so my last thing I really want to ask you, dude, is what's your message to the world, dude? If there's one thing you want people to take away from Moonlander, what is it? I
want to be one of the biggest artists of all time. That's my life goal. I want to do it I want to show, I genuinely want to be like someone that anyone can look up to. And I think that's what makes my story so cool. My story has yet to really come to the front yet, because I feel like I had to reach almost the destination point before the other stuff's cool. But like, I just want to be a symbol to like, you can really do whatever you want. And like, it's hard. It takes time. I've been doing this since I was 13. Like, I'm 27 now. And it's also crazy, like how things just start moving and moving and moving and moving. And it's just like feeding the fire, always feeding the fire. But yeah, I want to be a symbol, man. I want to inspire people to do what they want to do in life, because we only get one life and you should have the best life ever. Dude, and one thing that I like learned and like actually just love about your name, like Moonlander, is because it's like at one point there was some motherfucker who was like, yo, we're going up there, dude. We're going to make it happen. And they did it. So to me, like, I like your name because it's like a representation of like a dreamer that's going to make it happen. Because at one point somebody had a crazy idea to go to the moon and they fucking did it, dude. I think I need to be, I don't want to do this at all, but I think I need to be the first artist to perform on the moon. Bro, I mean, like that shit would suck ass, but I'll do it. That's crazy. I mean, who's your plug for Elon? You got another billboard. It needs to be you hugging Elon. Let me go up to the moon, bro. Take me to the moon. What if he's just like, yo? That shit would be so scary. Well, question. It's scarier to go to the moon than Mars. Mars is way further, right? Yeah. How long does it take to get to the moon? Do we know this? Shit. I don't know. Probably now, not that far, right?
It would be sick. You'd have to go to the moon for the bit, dude.
That would
It would
suck
be you.
ass.
Like, who else would
I'll
it
do
be?
though.
Like, is there another moon
No,
artist?
you can't. It's just me.
Yeah, Empire of the Sun, they got it worse than you, dude.
Oh, God. They're not going on the sun.
But yeah, Moonlander, I want to thank you for coming on the podcast
Hey,
today.
we in New York, y'all.
We are in New York. First podcast in New York ever. I'm very excited about that, too. And
It's a good pod, man. I'm glad to be on.